we have just got off from the back of a mammoth shoot, haven't we?
Yes.
And this mammoth shoot involved probably, I reckon, between 20 and 28,000 people.
Yeah, it was.
That's
It
right.
was a big one.
That's a big shoot.
It's a big shoot. I mean, it wasn't all in one day, people. Just to let you know, it was over. So well, it's 7 days, wasn't it? I think if you include setup days, it's 7 days, something like that.
Something like that.
And yeah, it was the biggest graduation I think we've done, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. And actual fact, the week before there was another one going on that we were obviously managing, and that was going on as well. That was over 4 days, but again, there were several thousand people there.
Yeah,
and so we are absolutely shattered, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Long days,
13-hour days mostly, wasn't it? And,
yeah, that's right. Very few breaks, day after day.
Yeah,
being away from home. But hey, that's the life of a photographer. But
we had a great team. I just want to say we had a big shout out to the team. Also, we had the photographers there, also the admin staff. It was a slog. It was an absolute slog. And yeah, heroes, all of them really, because they were long old days.
They were. That's right. Yeah. Now, obviously, when you do a shoot of that magnitude, of that size, and that was a big one, obviously you've got all of the download to do, and and all the post processing. These images don't just suddenly be shot and then they just appear suddenly. That's
how many images do you think we shot?
Whoa, I don't. You know what? I've got a calculator here, right? Okay, so if we did. I'm trying to work it out. I'm trying to punch my numbers in.
I mean,
here.
roughly,
7,000. Okay,
7,000 graduates.
7,000 graduates, and let's just say each one with some family pictures. Overall, let's just say there were 15 images. That's 105,000 images.
Wow.
Okay, and it was probably more actually. It was.
Well, you're not including all the event stuff and the VIPs, the stuff that I was doing as well.
Exactly. So we had VIP photography to do. There was event photography to do. There was the video stuff that we were doing. So we were stretched as a team, and we had drone stuff as well that was going on. So we really did take it to the extreme of working long hours and being involved in a number of different things, and being multi-skilled as well, and being able to adapt to situations where we were just being asked to shoot something with very little sort of prior warning. Suddenly there'd be a VIP, an honorary, or you'd have to do something on stage, or you'd have to be back in the studio, or you need to be helping with the drone or something like that. So it was it certainly kept you on the edge. But the number of images we were talking about just now, that part of it. Now, I was responsible for doing the downloading of all of that. And when you're downloading and you've got a lot of people around you, it can be very easy to get lost with all of that. Because one simple mistake means that you can miss not just one picture, but you can sort of miss downloading several images, which causes untold issues further down the line, and which can be sort of quite financially can have a financial hit as well. So you've got to really concentrate on what you do, and that whole download process also relies on having the right equipment and the right sort of laptop. It's all obviously done on site, a laptop that's going to do it quick. But also card readers as well, and what you download. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about memory card readers, because over the years, I've bought several memory card readers, and some have been good, some have been not so good. I wouldn't say any of them have lasted. I really wouldn't.
See, I did have one years and years and years ago. I think I bought it when I was still working my Jessup days, I think, and I bought it. It was a SanDisk one. Right. And it was brilliant. And this was the days when compact flash was king.
Yeah.
And any of you who've used compact flash, especially with card readers, probably know that one of the first things to go in a card reader are the pins, because they tend to get bent, don't they?
They do.
It's an absolute pain in the bum. However, this SanDisk one that I had, and they've not done it since. It broke eventually just because of old age. I had it for 7 to 10 years, this card reader. It was a long one. But it had because I was using compact flash, but it had a really long slot. So by the time the card got to the pins, it was in line. I found now with compact flash card readers now, they have a very narrow slot. So it's very easy to bend the pins. But I say this SanDisk one, it lasted me for years, and I've never had one last that long since, ever.
So hang on. So you're saying the gap is narrower now? Is that what you were just saying?
No, so when you're inserting
Yeah.
the cards,
Yeah.
so there was a longer hole, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Right.
there was
Okay.
when the card was attached into the pins,
I know.
there was less of the compact flash
Card showing.
showing.
Yeah.
Because it was quite a deep hole.
Mm.
And so because of that, you were lined up perfectly because it had that deep hole. You don't get that these days. You get a very sort of shallow hole, and it's so easy to bend the pins, I find.
Yeah, it is, and I bought. I can't remember what the make of it. And it's now. I was going to mention it going back one last year. I thought, oh, this is a really good one, and it's exactly what happened. The pins bent, and I'm usually very, try and be very careful with those because I know that that's what happens. To be honest with you, it's not the card reader I'm fussed about. It's the actual memory card, right? That's what I'm really sort of concerned about. But when you're working under such pressure and you've got a lot of people around you, it's easy to make those mistakes. And somebody hands you a card and they want you to download it and they're waiting to get it back, and you push the card in and it doesn't go in, and you pull it out and you still can't get it back in. You're wondering what's going on. And then when you do look at the pins in the card reader, yes, one's bent and it's not usable. And so you're scrapping around to see if somebody has one. And
I have managed to fix a few.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
Just with a pair of tweezers and a magnifying loop and just put it back. You always feel a bit wary though, don't you?
That's right. Yeah. So card readers is one of those things that is what do you buy? Because a lot of laptops, they come with card readers built in, don't they? Like a micro SD card reader or an SD card reader.
Yeah.
But I've not ever seen a laptop that's got a compact flash card reader in.
Well, no, I think they're phasing compact flash out generally. I think maybe the pin issue is one of the reasons. I mean, it's like, do you remember the old Smart Media cards? I mean, that it used to have Smart Media, which was basically a bigger version and a flatter version of the SD.
Yeah.
And it had compact flash, and it was either one. Smart Media got phased out quite quickly because SDs kind of took over, and I think SDs are now taking over compact flash mainly because of the pin issue is an issue. Having said that, there's still quite a few cameras out there that have compact flash. My Mark III has a backup. That's a compact flash. But I suggest the card I pull out and put in all the time is the SD. And SDs, they're not beyond their problems either.
No,
they do come apart, they get corrupted or whatever, but I think generally they're better than the compact flash ones, and I'm guessing that's why they're phasing them out. So that's why I guess manufacturers of laptops aren't putting them in,
and they take up a lot of space, don't they? So let me break it down a bit, because that gives me because I was going to talk, I wanted to talk about memory card readers, which we will do, but I also want to now include the cards, and let's break them down as we go, into sections here, because it's going to relate to everyone. Because Nikon do the XQD cards. So let's start with the XQD cards that Nikon do. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of odd just to throw it in, because I don't have any experience with XQDs being a Canon user, so I don't use them. Okay,
so I do. Well, I have done, because I had I think it was a Nikon D4S going back a few years ago, and that's the first time I came across it. And so when I remember going in to buy the camera, I remember going into Wex, and I had no idea that they had an XQD card. So when I went to get my memory cards, I thought they were just SD cards. I thought, I'm just going to get some new cards while I'm here. They said to me, oh, here's, you need an XQD card. And I think it was something like 32 gig, whatever it was, 32 gig, 60. Anyway, it's £175.
Wow.
I thought,
why what? Expensive?
That's just it. Why are they so expensive? They're saying they were saying that they're more durable. They write faster. They'll download faster. They'll do all of that and everything. But it had an XQD card and an SD card slot, so it had dual card slots.
Yeah.
Now I think Canon now are doing CF Express. Is it Canon that are doing CF Express?
I don't know, because I mean obviously the R6 and the R6 Mark II, which is probably one of their more later cameras.
Yeah,
that they're both SDs.
They
dual
are.
cards.
That's right. Yeah. Now I wasn't sure. Now I've got, we're both Canon users, so and I know some of the photographers that we're working with were saying that we're using CF Express cards. Now I'm not sure whether they are the same as the XQD cards. Either way, they are these sort of rectangular cards, a little bit bigger than an XQD card, I would say, a bit thicker, but they're supposed to be more durable. They're supposed to, as I said, write faster, do all of those things, which yeah, fine, they probably do, but they are very, very expensive. And then you need a memory card reader that will take that. So I remember having to buy the memory card reader to specifically take that XQD card to read that. So that cost me as well, which I wasn't expecting at the time.
No. Do they still use XQDs in their later cameras, Nikon?
Yes, yeah. So Nikon, that's what's
not going away.
No, because that's what's taken over SD cards. So it's newer than SD cards.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah,
but I'm just wondering, you had, and I know I've spoken about this a few times, you had the Sony memory stick, which is this purple sort of oblong looking memory thing, and they're gone. They no one uses them anymore.
Have they? Right, they're phased out, have they?
Yeah, well, you don't use them for your Sony cameras, do you? They're all SD.
No, not at all.
So you don't have these. It was back in the late 90s, early noughties when these cards were about. But all their cameras took them. These purple, and they were more expensive than the others.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I couldn't really fathom why. I think maybe it's because maybe they did write faster and maybe all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But they are now phased out, so you can't use them anymore.
Yeah. So with the CF Express, I was just looking up here. They have Type A and Type B cards, and I think they just got different write speeds. It says that both Type A and Type B CF Express formats are based around the same super fast PCI Express technology. However, they differ in the amount of PCI data transfer lanes available. So it gets a little bit technical here, but I think they've just got different write speeds on them, and they're compact, it says, and just saves time in downloading. And they're used in cameras. Sony use them a lot, and it says that they are now the choice for professional photographers. I wouldn't necessarily say that at all.
No, we don't use them, do we?
No, exactly. Certainly not from our experience.
In fact, I haven't heard a lot about these cards. So many of the photographers I know use these cards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, last time, I mean, there was a team of 10 photographers, and I think 2 of them had one had an XQD card, one had CF Express. I think it might we might be talking about the same thing. So you have those, and you have to have a different memory card for those, and they're expensive. Then we were talking about obviously compact flash. We've spoken a little bit about that. The problem with those is that the pins in the card readers do bend. They are prone to problems there. Then you've got
they are being phased out as well.
There's no doubt about that. Then you've got SD cards, and I think they're the most popular. I think pretty much, I would say probably most cameras have got an SD card. Yeah. If they take an XQD card or a CF Express, then the backup slot is going to be an SD. And I think they're the most convenient. I've certainly had problems with those. Yep. I know that when I pull them out of my camera, I've had 1 or 2 where I pulled it out and I felt something tug a little bit. Yeah. And then when you take it out, you see the bit of the gold. The connectors have come off, and immediately that card is it's bent, it's thrown away and chucked. Don't risk it. Don't use it. You're going to have a problem with that. Yeah. But they are the most popular ones. And then after that, you've got micro SD cards, which we use micro SD cards in our drones. Yeah. We've not gotten any in the cameras that we use, but I know a lot of the compact cameras these days use.
Well, the GoPros use them.
GoPros use them.
So my action camera is not actually a GoPro, but it's a YI or Yi camera, but it's a micro SD.
Yeah,
and then you have an adapter for it, so it then goes into SD card readers and stuff.
Exactly. So I've got 2 laptops, and one of those laptops has a micro SD card reader, which is really useful. It does actually, which is my old laptop, which is really useful because we'd always use it to download all the drone stuff. It's brilliant. And those cards are so small; it's so easy to lose, and so that was really useful. But the laptop that I bought going back a few months ago, that's got an SD card reader. Hasn't got a micro SD card reader built in. It'd be handy to have had both, actually. So that's and that was one of the when I bought my laptop, that was one of the reasons why I bought my laptop, because it had an SD card reader in it. So when buying my laptop, it was not just for speed and everything else I was looking at. I was thinking, can I download direct rather than putting a memory card in there or something? But coming back to the card readers, then is that cost wise? I mean, you can buy a card reader for, I don't know, £10, and they go up to, I don't know, £150 for different card readers.
I've not seen £150
yeah.
one, but
some are just single card readers. In other words, they'll read an SD card only, a compact flash card reader, or they're dedicated, micro SD card. I think more and more now, you see that they're multi card readers. And as I was saying, I bought a load over the years, and particularly for this shoot that we had coming up, last week, this big one, I needed to buy some more card readers. And I know the photographers we work with, some of them were shooting compact flash, some were with SD. I didn't buy an XQD card reader because all of the photographers said anyone's using the CF Express or XQD we're also shooting on SD as well. So I went out and bought I bought out 3 of the Lexar Professional it's called the Lexar Professional multi card 3-in-1 USB 3.1 card reader. It's got an SD slot, micro SD, compact flash. It's a nice sort of, not a triangular shape, but it's a really well built, solid piece of kit, as it were.
What's the slot like on the compact flash?
It's the same as every other one, right? It's very narrow. You push the card in, and most of the card is actually sticking out. It doesn't push all the way in, and I find
don't know why they don't make these long holes for the compact flash.
I guess maybe it's just design, less costs. Maybe somebody designed it for the first time and they all said, we cut down on material by doing it that way, don't need to,
and we can sell another one when they break the pins.
Exactly, that's right. So every time I would put the the compact flash, if any of the cards in, I'd put them in very, very carefully, and also pull them out very carefully. It's very easy when you're working quickly. You whack the card in, you download, you take the card out, and that's where you're going to make a mistake. It's important to make sure that the card is pushed in all the way. So this Lexar Professional one that I bought, it's very tempting for me to say it's the best card reader I've ever bought, because every card reader I buy is always a good one, and it's the best one I've ever bought.
And then 6 months later,
and there's some sort of an issue with it. So what I like about this one though is that it's quite sturdy. That it can sit on a table. It's got sort of a not rubber feet, but it's got something where it doesn't slide around. So when you put it on the table, it's there. I've got some other ones that just look like USB slots, and other ones that like a long USB dongle type of thing, which take an SD card reader. So they come in all shapes and all sizes. But what do you go out and buy? Because most people, I guess a lot of people are hobbyists, particularly, in most cases, will probably think, I'll just buy a card reader, and they'll go anywhere and they'll think, why should I spend 50 quid on a card reader when I can get something that does the same job and it's 10 quid? I'll just buy that one. And it's probably going to be good enough for them. It's, it might last them for ages, but when it comes to pro use, you've got to be a little bit more sort of be prepared to spend and be a little bit more on the ball about what you're actually going to get.
But you're going to use it loads more, aren't you? I mean, that's basically it. There's going to be a lot more wear and tear in it. And it is an incredibly important piece. If you can't have a faulty card reader, because you're up the creek, aren't you, basically?
Yeah, exactly. And a good card reader, really what you're looking for is something that's gonna be download things fast. It's gonna have consistent transfer speeds, because they do make a difference. It's got to be durable, and also is just to keep it clean as well. Don't throw it around. Keep it somewhere in a box. It's very easy just to throw it in your camera bag and just leave it there. So I've got just a little plastic bag that I keep my card readers in, which I keep in one of my bags, just to try and keep them clean. I don't just have it loose. I know you do, Mark, because I've seen them in your bag, right? But then I think that's what most people do.
They have a little pocket inside my bag. It's not loose in my bag.
Sure. But what I was going to say, what you do is probably what most people do. It's what I did for years as well. I think the hubs are the good ones, the ones that the multi-purpose ones, where, because, you might go out and buy a camera and find that, my old camera was SD cards. I bought a new one. And it only takes micro SD or whatever. But so when you're looking for a memory card reader, spend good money, take your time looking for one, and look after it, and look after when you're downloading your cards as well.
Yeah.
Because you can have issues with those.
Okay, well, with that in mind, I'm off to go and buy a card reader.